Good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Margolick. I'm posted at Naval X. I have the pleasure of being the director of the Centers for Adaptive Warfighting and emphatically not your host. For this week's CAWcast number 5, you've got way better folks front and center. So I'm here just to say thank you for showing up and for all the work that you do keeping the Department of the Navy moving on a daily basis, and also to set the table in just a couple of ways. One of them is to emphasize to everybody that this is functionally a social media experience. So we appreciate you being at our Zoom webinar, and we're excited to give everybody a chance to ask some interesting questions of some fabulous human beings doing mind-bending and world-changing work. But we ask you to bear in mind that this will be a social media, distro A, public-facing kind of moment in that kind of place, and to bear in mind that we're shaping the conversation that way so that we can have it at all. And also that it is my immense pleasure, which I will look back on for years as having been a thing I can't believe I get to do, to introduce two folks to you who will be your hosts today. So first of all, Dr. Jen Wolk is a program officer at the Office of Naval Research, where she runs the Additive Manufacturing Materials and Processes portfolio. Captain Matt Audette is the director of the Advanced Manufacturing Operations Cell at Marine Corps Systems Command. Between them, I believe that they have somehow been elected president and are expected to take over the United Nations at some point in the next 5 to 10 years. I don't manage the slate for those things. I also don't fact check the things that I read on Wikipedia, and I understand they had a chance to modify their own pages earlier today, so it is a privilege to be here. Jen, Matt, thank you so much. We're going to take it over to you.
Great. Thanks so much for having us. It's certainly my pleasure to be here today across the Zoom webinar for this crew of folks, and to talk about a subject near and dear to many of our hearts related to additive manufacturing. What does it mean for agility? So as we walk through the webinar today, we're going to spend some time talking about what does additive manufacturing mean in the context of agility? What does it mean in the context of the current crisis we're actually facing, and how has it helped our manufacturing? As we look forward, I think it's important to understand the directions we're heading. And so it's certainly my pleasure to introduce the folks who will be speaking today and providing their perspectives across the naval enterprise in the space of additive manufacturing. So first up will be Mr. Ben Bouffard, who is a division director at the NAVC Technology Office. Ben, if you can wave. Great, thanks. And then we have Todd Jonas, who is the NAVFAC Engineering and Expeditionary Warfare Center Additive Manufacturing Lead. So Todd, if you don't mind giving a wave, that's great. We also have Dr. Kristen Holsworth, who is the Chief Scientist at the Advanced Manufacturing Operations Cell. I believe that she is dialed in over the phone. And then I believe we're also going to have Ms. Liz McMichael, who is the NavAir Additive Manufacturing IPT lead. So hopefully she will be joining us online soon as a panelist. So it's super awesome to have all these folks here. We get a chance to really chat often about additive manufacturing with each other, and so it's our pleasure to chat with you guys about some different perspectives. So what we'd like to do is kind of kick it off with a couple of questions for our esteemed panelists going around the call, and then I believe there'll be opportunities for folks to ask some questions along the line. Many thanks to our friends behind the scenes at CAWcast, who will be filtering lots of different things for us. So with that, let's maybe get started. I'd like to have each of the panelists maybe go off mute when it's their time to chat. But very first question, I think, is a question that's near and dear to all of our hearts, which is,